Before you were born, before you took your first breath, before your parents even knew your name, something was decided. A soul agreement was made. A specific role was chosen. And everything that has happened to you since, every wound, every gift, every inexplicable knowing, every moment of feeling like you were built for something nobody around you could understand, was part of the preparation. Today I'm going to walk you through 7 signs that you carry a chosen soul contract. From your earliest memories, you felt like you arrived from somewhere else, not in a way you could explain to anyone without sounding strange, but a bone-deep sense of not quite belonging to the reality around you. Other children played in ways that seemed alien. Adult conversations felt hollow in ways you couldn't articulate. You may have had invisible companions or inexplicable knowledge about things you'd never been taught, or an overwhelming empathy that caused you to absorb the emotional states of everyone around you. This isn't neurodivergence, though it can look like it. This is the signature of a soul that carried significant spiritual memory into incarnation. A soul whose higher dimensional awareness hadn't fully compressed into 3D consensus reality yet. In shamanic traditions across cultures, from the Siberian Tungus to the Lakota of North America, the chosen healer was identified in childhood by precisely these signs: sensitivity too intense for the world, a foot in both worlds, a strangeness that made ordinary life feel like wearing a suit that doesn't fit your actual body. The chosen soul does not arrive to a comfortable, uncomplicated life. The soul that agreed to carry significant divine work into the world required the most advanced preparation program, which in 3D terms looks like devastating early loss, trauma, family dysfunction, or circumstances that would have broken a less spiritually robust consciousness. This is not random cruelty. This is curriculum. Every mystical tradition that addresses this describes the same principle. The vessel for divine work must be emptied first. The Jacob wrestling the angel story. The descent into the underworld. The dark night. The initiation. If your early life contained pain that seemed wildly disproportionate to anything you could have deserved, if you look back and realize that what should have destroyed you somehow made you deeper, more empathetic, more real, that's not survivor's luck. That's evidence of a soul robust enough to have agreed to use that difficulty as fuel. The chosen soul begins to notice, at some point, that reality is too specifically responsive to be coincidence. You think of someone, and they call. You need specific information, and a book falls open to exactly the right page. You arrive at the last possible moment for something that would have changed the trajectory of your life if you'd missed it. Carl Jung called this phenomenon synchronicity, and he was careful to distinguish it from coincidence. Synchronicities, he observed, cluster around moments of psychological transformation. They are the external reflection of internal alignment. When a soul is moving into congruence with its contract, the universe literally reorganizes physical reality to confirm and support that movement. If your synchronicities have been intensifying recently, if the coincidences have become too specific, too frequent, too meaningful to dismiss, this is not magical thinking. This is the quantum correlation between your soul's frequency and the intelligent fabric of reality responding in real time. Despite every logical reason not to, despite years of the world telling you that you're too much, too sensitive, too idealistic, too other, you cannot shake the knowing that you are here for something significant. Not from ego, not from grandiosity, from a quiet, inexhaustible certainty that sits below your doubts. This is one of the most consistently reported experiences among people who later become agents of genuine transformation in the world. Not arrogance, not specialness, something more like a compass that keeps pointing in the same direction regardless of weather. You can doubt everything else. You cannot doubt this. You possess wisdom you weren't taught, healing capacity that isn't explained by your training, creative output that seems to come through you rather than from you. When you are most aligned, you say things that change people's lives. And afterward, you cannot fully remember saying them or explain where they came from. Multiple spiritual traditions describe this as the operation of what they variously call the Holy Spirit, the Kundalini awakened, the Muse, the ancestors speaking through the mouth of the prepared vessel. The common thread, genuine spiritual ability, feels less like skill and more like transmission. Less like doing and more like allowing. Almost every person who carries a significant soul contract describes a single relationship. Sometimes romantic, sometimes a teacher, sometimes what felt like a nemesis, that operated less like a normal relationship and more like a detonator. A relationship that blew up everything you thought you were and everything you thought you wanted and left you standing in the rubble, inexplicably more yourself than you'd ever been. In Jungian terms, this is the meeting with the shadow that catalyzes individuation. In mystical terms, this is the beloved, not in the sentimental sense, but in the Rumi sense. The one whose presence burns away your false self with such efficiency that the pain is indistinguishable from grace. If you can trace your deepest awakening to a single relationship that destroyed you in order to reveal you, that person was not a mistake. That soul agreed to play the most difficult role in your curriculum. And whatever you feel about them now, your spiritual maturity will eventually arrive at gratitude. The final sign, and the one that is most specifically relevant to the time we are living in, is the experience of rapid spiritual acceleration that began in the last few years. As though something shifted in the fabric of collective consciousness and the curriculum suddenly became compressed, the veil between the conscious and unconscious mind is thinning. Dreams are intensifying. Old wounds are surfacing to be healed. Connections to people, places, and ideas that felt distant suddenly feel urgent and alive.